What I do is I'm looking for as seen on TV products primarily because that's where the bulk of the money is made with inventing, in that it's fast, the speed to market is very fast, and even though the royalty rate might appear small, the actual cash that you put in your pocket is bigger than most other distribution channels. So does everybody know what I mean when I say as seen on TV products? Because some people think it's a company, really it's a section of shelves at Walmart and CVS and Walgreens. So there's a lot of places you can go to get on that shelf. And what our company Will It Launch does is we do the preliminary testing that's required before any product can get on that shelf. It's really a very sophisticated model. If you think about what's going on now with traditional manufacturing, they might make a product and maybe that takes them 12 months, 2 years to make the product, to contact the buyer. I'm talking about a big existing company that already sells products in Walmart. They spend a couple years making it, getting it in the Walmart store, and then shipping it to the Walmart store when the buyer says yes. And then they put it on the shelves, and you and I walk by those shelves, and for whatever reason, we don't notice it and we don't buy it. What do you think happens to that product? Right, get it out of here. The Walmart buyer says, I need inventory, turns, take it out. So that small to mid-sized manufacturer or big manufacturer that did all that, they spent 2 years, they probably spent $500,000 at least putting product in all the Walmart stores. They have to eat that. And so that takes them 2 years and a minimum of $500,000 to figure that out. So one of the things that we do with our model is we use television to test consumer receptivity to a mass market item. All right, so people often are confused and they think we're making money on the direct response of the TV. We're actually not. It's a test ground, and that's why it's not a good idea for you to try to do that on your own. Because, you know, these big companies will spend like $3 million in a media run for a product. An inventor generally is not going to have that kind of money to do that. And the $3 million that is spent actually is a loss. And that's what people often don't understand, because they think, oh, I can do a TV commercial, I can get on my local station, and you can do all that. The problem is you probably aren't going to sell enough to make up the difference in how much you spent. But where we do make up the difference is at the retail shelf space, because for every one product that's sold on TV, 10 to 15 products are going to be sold at the store level. We know that most people are going to buy the product when they're at Walmart and they see the store shelves and they oh, that's that product that's on TV, I saw it online, I'm going to put it in my basket now. So that's where the profit is made, and that's where a significant amount of profit's made. Because of that media, you're going to notice it. Because of that media, you're going to see that product. You're not just going to walk by and not have any idea what it is. You're going to know, and in fact, there's a very specific math formula that says any product on those as seen on TV shelves is going to do at least 1 million pieces a year. If it weren't doing at least 1 million pieces a year, it would not be on those shelves. Any other section of the store, hardware, sporting good, off supply, for you to sell 1 million pieces of anything is a lot. 1 million pieces of product is a lot of product. But with as seen on TV, that's not a lot of product. With the as seen on TV category, you're going to sell 5 to 8 million pieces per year for about 5 years or less. So the difference is it's a big splash. A lot of units will be out there in a very short amount of time, but it doesn't have great staying power. It's not like a 20-year product, which is why patents are not as important for TV. Now, I'm not saying they're not important, because patents are always a good thing to get, and if you have some attorneys here, it's great that they're here helping independent inventors, because there are not that many that do. So is there one here?
Yes.
Okay, good. Good, thank you for being here, and thank you for helping the independent inventors. So that's good. But for TV, it's not as critical because we're about speed to market. So we're going to get to market fast. Once we put a product through our testing platform and it succeeds, we're going to have that manufactured in all the Walmarts in 6 months to 12 months. So that's lightning speed fast. So we're going to beat all the knockoffs for the bulk of the revenue. Most people are going to buy the product within that first window. Now after that, we're going to have knockoffs, and we know that, and that's fine. That's peanut money. So that's why patents aren't as important. So what I need is a well-made prototype so that I can test it, and I need a demo video. It can be a smartphone demo video. The better your product is, the more developed the idea, the better the prototype. We call that low-hanging fruit. So if you've already invested in manufacturing, maybe you already have a patent, maybe you already have a website, we call that low-hanging fruit. We can run with that lots faster because we don't have to do all that now. So that's great if you have that. But all I really need is a well-made prototype and a demo video. And I'm going to look at those ideas. You can send them to me by email. Put the product name in the subject line, and I'm going to give you real feedback. And here's the difference between me is I am not selling a service. I'm not selling any of the many valuable services that you need to get your product out. Those service providers they're not judging market viability. A patent attorney's job is not to tell you if anybody's going to buy your product. Their job is to get you a patent. That's what you pay them for. A prototyper's job is not to tell you whether people are going to buy your product. Their job is to give you a prototype. That's what you paid them for. A manufacturer in China is not going to tell you whether you have a product that people are going to buy. You're paying them to produce a certain amount of goods and get it to you by a certain amount of time, right? And you need all those services. And there's really no way of knowing. Nobody's got the secret answer of what's going to sell and not sell. But what I have at this point in my career is a really sharp eye, because I am actively working hard to be a part of the next big multi-million-dollar winner. And my whole business has been about being a little part of other people's royalties. Me and my husband started about 20 years ago. We cashed in everything. I left a job as president of a technology company. He left a job as a structural engineer of a big engineering company in our city. We cashed it all in. We raised a couple $100,000. We went to China, we made our product, we got it in QVC, we got it in Sports Authority, we got it at Sam's Club, Costco, all around, got it in Cabela's. And it looked like a major success to anybody on the outside. But let me tell you what, on the inside, we were struggling. The cash flow was hard. You got to pay the Chinese, in advance to send them the money, and then I get the product into all those stores. But they don't pay me right away. They pay me net 30, right? But they really don't pay me net 30. They pay me net 60 if I'm lucky. They pay me net 180 if they feel like it. And when I ship them the product, if there's anything wrong on the barcode or any aspect of it, then they ding it, ding it, ding it, and before you know it, you're getting less money than you really expected, and good luck fighting them, because that just takes more time. So I found it to be a really complicated, difficult thing, but it can be done. It can absolutely be done. And we ended up selling like $1 million in product of our product, so you can still find it in some places on the market now. It's a sport shade canopy money. So, but because that experience was so hard for me, and I thought it was going to be so easy, I realized, wow, there's got to be a better way. And I realize now it's licensing. So I started volunteering at my local inventor club, just like what you guys are doing. And then I worked my way up. I started helping the people that were involved. And then we started doing nationwide conferences, and I started learning about who's who in the zoo and getting more comfortable with things. And then before you know it, I needed to raise money for our local club, and I went to some of these, I went to Will at Launch. They were in my city, and they gave $10,000 to a local inventor club, my club. And so we did a big contest with that money, and through that, I began to get to know them. And I began to trust them. And it was probably a year long where I volunteered helping them, look at product. I would go there every week just as a volunteer. And then the next year I was able to get paid from that. And then the next year I had some of our other products start to hit, and some revenue started to come in from licensing. We were in our club, we were able to license 7 ideas. And so I had some revenue coming in, and I started to see, wow, this revenue coming in from licensing is way easier. I just literally go to the mailbox and get a check. It's not as hard as the make and sell route. And then I started building a business on it, and I ended up partnering with the Will at Launch team. And now what I do is I come around trying to find As Seen on TV products 90% of the things I look at are not going to be a fit, though. That's just the way it is. According to the patent office, 90% of patents issued to independent inventors don't make the inventor any money. You know, most products fail. That's the cold, hard truth of this business. But that's not why any of us are here. We're here because we think we've got the one that's going to succeed. And I'm saying maybe you do. Maybe you do have the one that's going to succeed. And if you do, I definitely want to be a part of it, and I want to learn. I want to help get it to market as fast as we can, and then I want to make some money off of that too. So if you have an as seen on TV product, I don't take any royalties from you. There's no royalty splits. There's no money that you have to pay. I'm the direct licensee. I offer you the royalty agreement. And if you're a finder, I have these product scouts that show me product, then I pay the finder's fee. So there's no cost to you whatsoever. Now we do have 3 types of agreements. The first one, and you have it in your handout, is the fully funded licensing agreement. That's what most of you want, where you pay nothing. There's no cost to you. We fund everything, and if it succeeds, we take it to market. The second type of agreement is the partnership, and that's where to put a product through this testing process I was telling you about is kind of expensive. The first type of test we do is a survey, and then we go to a web test, and then we go to a 2-minute TV test. That 2-minute TV test costs about $50,000. So all in all, in under 120 days, we could burn, you know, $50,000 to $75,000 on a test that may succeed, that may fail. Well, some inventors don't want to just give up their product. In a full licensing agreement with any company, you're licensing fully the rights to make and sell your product, and you're just going to receive the royalty check. So you don't have any say. You're not involved in the manufacturing, you're not involved in the marketing plan, you're not involved in the name of the product, you're out of it. For most of you, that's a good deal. Take that deal and get that mailbox money. But it's not for everybody. Some people are business savvy. They want to put some money into it. They maybe already put money into it with patents and with product and with a crowdfunding campaign, and they want to be involved. They want to build a business. So for them, they can pay like $17,500 to be like in the loop of the tests that we do, and then they can help us determine the script. They can help us figure out how it all goes. They can get the results and be a part of it. So best case scenario is it succeeds and we're off to the races and we sell 5 to 8 million pieces and everybody's happy. Worst case scenario, it fails, we drop it like a hot potato, and then you now have a nice commercial that you can use to find other distribution channels. Because I told you, not everything's gonna be the mass market grand slam home run, right? So that's the second type. The third type is just a consulting agreement where a small manufacturer, instead of spending $500,000 in 2 years to find out it's going to fail, they'd rather just pay us $50,000, do the 2-minute test, 120 days, it's done, it either succeeds and yay, you've got a winning product, or it fails and thank goodness you found out in 120 days and $50,000 before you did anything different. So that's how TV works. Questions about how TV works or the testing process? That was a lot of information I just dumped on all of you.
So the money that you invest in the second or the third one, is there different commission agreements? Or?
Yes, you do make more. It's risk reward. If you're going to put in cash, yes, you make more. But you're also going to do more. There's things that you can do. We can do it all. So it's really a matter of what do you want to do, what can you do, whether you want to provide the manufacturing, you know, what expertise you have. Usually it comes down to the manufacturing. Good question. Did you?
Well, just what TV market do you go for? I mean, is it a certain part of the country or certain cable channels do well? Or?
What TV market do we go for? What cable channels do well? Good question. That always comes up. It's really about the math of, is it a mass market product or isn't it? It's kind of as simple as that. In general, our target market is 35 to 75-year-old women. 35 to 75-year-old women buy 90% of all consumer goods in every category. So it's a good market. The other thing that's unique to us is I need a mass market product. It's got to be to the masses. So the cable channel doesn't matter so much. And that's always a problem. If a test fails, that is the first question out of the inventor's mouth. Oh, you didn't air it on the right channels. Oh, it aired in the middle of the night. All that's true, yes. It aired on lots of channels and it aired in the middle of the night because it's low-cost TV ads. But that really doesn't make a difference. And now, if you had a dog product, maybe you'd want to put it on the pet channel, you know. But generally, these are mass market products. So the time-tested math formula, and you have to remember these tests have been going on since 1985. The math formula is pretty time-tested and pretty exact. I used to buck the system. I've been at this for almost 6 years in TV and 20 years in inventing. When I first started TV, I'd buck the system and I'd be like, no, that can't be right. You know, but I've never seen a product fail in TV that went on to be a mass market success. I haven't seen it. I'm not saying it hasn't happened, I just haven't seen it. And I bucked it. So it comes down to, the bottom line is X amount of people in the mass market had an opportunity to buy this product and the right percentage either bought it or they didn't. You know, that's the first test. Now, any other questions?
Yeah, you tell us when you're going to run the test?
In a full licensing agreement, we don't. You don't know anything. We're going to do it all on our own, and you'll know in 120 days if it succeeded or did not succeed. And we're going to give you a term sheet that says if it succeeds, here we've agreed on this royalty rate, and let's just say it's a 3% royalty rate. I'll go over royalty rates in a minute.
So we don't know,
No.
Channel 5?
No, now, and that is true of any licensing agreement when it's a fully funded licensing agreement. So whether it's the TV category or whether you license your product to Ford Motor Company or Bayer Aspirin or Procter & Gamble or any other company, if you're not paying the bills, you have no say. And that's the way it should be, really. Because the problem that I see happen, and I'm an inventor lover. My husband's an inventor. I've been married for 32 years. I try to invent. I haven't really invented anything. I'm more of a sales and marketer, but I love inventors. I've loved inventors my whole life. Sometimes that genius that makes you invent something that no one can see also makes you just a little bit nutty. And what I see is an inventor will come to a billion-dollar company who launches products for a living. And the inventor has never launched a single product and has actually lost money on the product that he's got. And then says, I want to, for free, tell you billion-dollar company how you're going to manage this product. And that's just not going to happen. You know, so I think that we need to be real. I try to speak plainly to people. So it doesn't matter, though, because what I find is it's better that you as the inventor aren't involved. Let the big company go.
Not talking about it all, just what time and channel.
You don't get a no. No. It's proprietary. Now, if you spend money, if you want to pay the $17,500 or you want to pay the $50,000, yes, you know it all. You know it all. You're paying for that right. Oh, okay. Here and then here.
If your product will fit in different categories of product, do you license to just one category, or do you take everything across the board?
The question is, if your product is more than one category, can you just get a license for one and then you can license others? Most of the time, there's an exclusive wanted. Any kind of high volume sales licensing agreement, whether for TV or non-TV, if it's a high volume company, they're going to want all exclusive because they don't want market competition after they put all this money in.
Right.
So most of the time you can't. Most of the time it's an
What I'm
exclusive.
talking about is, say a product can be used in automotive, but it can also be used in fashion.
In the As Seen on TV category, we want a licensing agreement for all of it. If you license outside of As Seen on TV to other companies that don't compete, you can do that. You can license to a fashion company that doesn't really compete with an automotive company. Sometimes you can do that in those segments because the volumes are lower and those companies' breadth of service is lower. But you don't want, what they don't want is to be having to compete with one another, right? So most of the time, those agreements don't happen as much. Now, what I have seen happen is you could license a cheaper version of your product, maybe a scaled down version for As Seen on TV, and then maybe you've got a higher quality version that's much more expensive and you want to sell it to a certain niche segment. You could do that. And that would be a smart way to go. What I find is everybody always says they're going to do that, but if you have an As Seen on TV winner, so much money comes to you that usually they just lose all sight of everything else. And then that's why we get video testimonials, because nobody wants to be called after they get the money.
Would-
Okay, one more follow-up.
Would you be interested in multiple purposes for the product?
Multiple purposes for the product are always a good idea.
Okay, in other words, now, I mean, say the one was automotive and the other one was fashion. Would you be interested in licensing both of those areas?
Yes, one's automotive, one's fashion. Here's the thing, the testing parrots that out. Our product, the Windshield Wonder, you know that product? It's a chamois on a stick. These are not rocket science products. But that's been a great product out there. So what we found out in testing was, we first started with, it cleans your sliding glass door, it cleans your bathroom mirror, all the places, the windows, everywhere. It was failing. And one of the tests, we got a little spike on the feature of the automotive underneath the window of your automotive where you can't really get in there. All of a sudden we got a little spike there and we're like, let's try that area. So we reran the commercial, tested new creative with only the automotive application, sales went through the roof. And that is what is important with testing, because we don't know what's going to resonate with consumers. And so part of this testing process, where we start with the survey, the web test, the 2-minute test, these tests tell us, is it a mass market product, a grand slam home run, or not? It's basically a yes or no. But once we say, yes, it is a grand slam home run, people are going to buy it on mass scale, now we want to maximize the profitability. We go into a whole nother series of 2-minute TV commercials, which is kind of expensive. These are 50 grand each. Sometimes they're less if we can use the same videos, but you know, it's kind of an expensive endeavor. And even in a partnership, you don't pay for that. We pay for all that after the yes. We pay for all these future tests. But now we're testing the product name, we're testing the features and the benefits, and we're testing the price point. And we're doing what's called A/B testing. So we might run the same commercial, like the Get Up and Go cane was one of my products, and I had a product scout on that as well. So we tested, it started out, the inventor had it called Apollo cane. And so that was fine for the testing, but then after it was a yes, we said, well, Apollo cane, that's kind of weird, let's change it to mobile cane. So we changed it to mobile cane. It was okay, but we thought, oh, we can still do better, but we're not sure. So somebody came up with Get Up and Go cane. And so then we tested the exact same commercial, exact same price point, mobile cane, Get Up and Go cane. Get Up and Go cane wins. More people bought. Mobile cane's out. We got Get Up and Go cane, and now we're testing price points. Because we're ready to roll out now. We've already started manufacturing now while this is going on. Manufacturing's already queuing up because we're trying to move fast, and we already know it's a winner. So now it's just about maximizing the profit. So then we have Get Up and Go cane. We have the right features tested. Now let's test the price point. $19.95, $39.95. Run the spots. Guess which one succeeds? Normally, $19.95, almost always the lower price succeeds. Almost always. Not in this case. People bought more at $39.95. So guess what that did for our profit? Doubled it. Because all the costs are set. The manufacturing's set. The production's already been done. It's all set. We just doubled our profit. So that was a really sweet deal. And so, I don't want to get on the tangent. Let me ask you
But
questions.
that doesn't affect the payout, because the payout's based on the wholesale price, not the retail.
The wholesale price would go up in that case. If we're selling it at 30, it does. The inventor just doubled their money too. Because if we're selling at a $39.99 price point retail, then that means we're probably selling at like a $22 or a $20 wholesale to Walmart. So everybody doubled their money.
So let's say you have a tool that's made for more construction work. I mean, would you be interested in looking at something like that? And if not, let's say that it wasn't in your women's category, but
Right.
would you have resources or someone that you could?
Perfect
Send that
segue.
to-
Would I look at something that doesn't meet the as seen on TV segue? Thank you. So 90% of the things that I'm looking at don't meet the as seen on TV. Well, I'm thinking to myself, gosh, 90%, these are good products. They can sell in other places, right? but I don't have a deal. I don't have a way to make money myself. With Will It Launch, I'm tied to the back end. I make money on the profit. But with these others, how do I make money? So I've tried different things. I tried licensing agent services where I hired a whole bunch of dial for dollar people, and I spent all this time training them. How do you make the call and how do you get the deal? And we got some deals, and we were charging the inventor like $500 a month, which I thought was really, really low, to do this work, to try to make these deals, and we made some deals. But it didn't feel good to me because we didn't make enough deals. And I don't like charging somebody a lot of money with their hopes being that a deal's gonna happen and then it doesn't happen. It just didn't feel good to me. And then thankfully I had enough wins come that I didn't need the cash quite as bad. I really like money, and so I want money. But I didn't need the cash so bad, and it felt not good. So now what I do is, when I'm traveling, like now, I'm always doing other meetings, like if there's manufacturers in town, or if there's companies that license from inventors, or if I get a lead somewhere, or if I meet somebody at a trade show, I'm always trying to build relationships with people. And so if I see a product like yours, and I know that I've got a person in construction or that can place that, then what I'll do is a royalty split with you. And so I'll say, if it's your lead, if you tell me you've got the lead, and you just want me to negotiate a licensing agreement for you, then I'll take 25% of the royalties of what I'm able to get you. No cash between us. Whatever cash comes in, I get 25%, you get 75%. If it's my contact, and I'm here traveling on my own dime, I'm paying all my own expenses. If it's my cash, because it's my contact that I developed, then I need 50% because it's cost me more time and money to develop that person. So that's pretty much how I'm doing it now. And I don't do like a big legal contract at first because frankly, not that many of these things place. And when they do place, sometimes they don't pay money. So I'm just trying to be real. But when they do hit, they can hit big. So I'm trying to give you the truth. I don't want to like squelch your dreams, but I don't want you to have a false sense of security because I'm just really, I'm money conscious and I'm thrifty and I like to live a debt-free life. And I made so many mistakes on my own that I don't want other people to have to endure that, even though the mistakes I made got me to where I am now. So they weren't bad. They got me to where I'm now. They were just so painfully expensive. So that's the answer to your question.
What happens after there's no more interest in the As Seen on TV company? What happens to the legal part of it? Do the rights fall back to the inventor to go do things elsewhere?
Yes. Yeah, and in any licensing deal, there's some certain specific things that you want to have in it, and your attorney can talk to you about it, or you can look at some of my blogs, certain things you want in it. But at the end of the licensing deal, whenever the royalties dip below, either the company loses interest and they dip below, or the contract is complete and you want to do something else, the contract is terminated and the rights to the IP go back to you. And this is true, like I said, we don't always have to have a patent in As Seen on TV. We do respect the product owner as the patent holder, and we'll sign they're not a patent holder because there's no patent, but they're the product owner. And so that's what we refer to them as, the product owner. We're not trying to, hurt anybody.
Like performance clause and
Yeah.
the owner.
In every licensing agreement, you want a minimum performance clause.
And at that time, it reverts back. Can the owner then buy the molds or?
Yes, you can have it back, you can do what you want. And I found that to be the case with most, even non-TV deals. Most of these manufacturers, if they're not able to work with it, I've worked with a ton of good manufacturers, and they're not trying to hold anybody up. They're not trying to hurt anybody. If they can't do it, they're fine helping you find another way to make it happen. And they made money during the time, and you made money during the time, so everybody's still happy. The thing about the royalties are, and the thing about my business, and the thing about all companies that are in business inventing is, we're only as good as the royalty checks coming in now. And this is what you have to know for yourself too. Let's say the best case scenario, we get a good licensing deal and royalties come in. They're not going to come in forever. There's a bell curve for products, and it's getting shorter and shorter. So they're only going to come in for a while. So I just encourage people not to spend too much. and I encourage people to get more coming in. That's how I survive. I've got royalties coming in where I'm a little piece, and they're coming in, but I know they're not going to keep coming forever. That's why I'm still out here working, because I need more and more and more royalties coming in. That's what every company has too. Every company we work with, if their revenue stream dries up, then their company dies. So, you have to keep an eye on that revenue and a reduction of your expenses too. Other questions?
If you think it's a good product, you go through the testing, it doesn't turn out as well as you think. Is there any of that data that you give back to the inventor, like, hey, here's some of the sectors where it was working well, but it didn't meet the threshold in order to move it on to the next one?
Generally not. It's considered proprietary, but here's what I do, because I'm trying to develop a relationship of trust and loyalty with each one of you. I want you to be loyal to me. I'm a long-term relationship kind of person. I know that your first idea may not be the winner. Maybe it's the second or third one that you have. So what I want from you is, I want first look. It's a very competitive market. You can put your website, your product on a zillion websites. There's lots of people that come around and been your speaker here and look for ideas. There's a lot of places you can go with your idea. I want to be the first stop. I want you to trust me enough to be the first stop. And in return, I'm going to tell you quickly, within 2 weeks or less, what I think. And I'm going to be candid. I'm pretty candid. I'm just one person's opinion. So that's what I want. What was the question? I think I'm losing sight of the question.
The second question was, what is, and it doesn't be exact number, but what's kind of a basic threshold for what is a yes or no? Is it a certain revenue amount? Is it a certain product number amount that, hey, we reached X amount, so that's a go? Or is it just a case by case basis?
Okay. It's subjective at this point. Like when I look at your product, it's just my human subjective experience. Once it goes to the Thursday meeting, every Thursday at 10, we have a meeting with my team. We throw up the top 20 ideas or so of the week, and it's thumbs up, thumbs down. And that's subjective also. For the things that are thumbs up, we immediately move them to a survey, and then it becomes less subjective, but the survey is really asking people, is this a problem that you'll pay to solve? It's not so much about the product and the design of the product, although it is the product and the design, and we're using your assets. We're using your demo video and whatever prototype you took a demo video of. And we're basically finding out, will people pay to solve this problem? And so it comes back yes or no, red, green, or yellow. And then it moves to the web test. The web test is really about buyer intent. Because the difference is with a survey, we're just asking them their opinion. Is the product unique? Would you use the product? There's like a whole series of questions. With the web test, we're actually asking you to pay with your credit card. Would you buy it? Because you get different answers. You know when you're asking your friends. It's one thing to say, do you like it? It's another thing, would you give me your credit card for $20? It's a different answer. So here we're measuring buyer intent. And then in the 2-minute commercial, that's where we're measuring mass marketability. Does that answer your question?
Sort of, yeah. I was kind of thinking, once you're at that mass marketability scale, what is that, what's an average threshold that we look at?
Oh.
To see whether if it's going to be mass market or not.
If it passes the 2-minute TV test and it makes it to the store shelves, we know it's going to do at least 1 million units per year. It will not, any product on the store shelves now is doing at least 1 million units a year. It won't make it to the shelves without it. Most of the products are doing 5 to 8 million pieces per year, okay, which is a lot. At one point, the Ped Egg was outselling the Snickers candy bar. So it's a lot of units. Now, let's talk royalty. Can I see this handout? Okay, so I just want you to see the royalty here, okay? If you've got this little royalty page, because I think this is so important. If any of you, or you read a book about royalties and it says 1 to 12%, right? Well, that depends on the distribution channel. Every distribution channel, when I say distribution channel, I mean ways to sell your product. TV is one distribution channel, one way to sell your product. Online direct, one way to sell your product. Going to your local Ace Hardware store and putting it in there, one way to sell product. Every way to sell product has its own business model, its own numbers that have to be met. So with As Seen on TV, the royalty rates are lower because the volume is higher. So with As Seen on TV, let's just say that you got a 3% royalty. Some inventors turn down the deal because it's a 3% royalty. They're stuck on the number 3. I read a book and I'm told I'm supposed to get 5. My expert, whatever, told me I should get 6. And I'm like, come on, can we just talk through this a little bit more? So a 3% royalty on 5 to 8 million pieces is about $330,000 per million pieces, and the average inventor is going to take home about $4.2 million. That contrasts that with the lower, if you are in, let's say you have a, maybe a tool or something in the hardware section or something in the sporting goods section, and it's a $50 price point and you get a 10% royalty. Is that 10 or 5? Okay, because I changed it on my other one. So let's run with 5. No, let's say it's 10 and we double it. Let's say you get $50,000 a year. If you just care about whether you got a 5% royalty or a 10% royalty, look how much money you've left on the table. It's not the right argument to have. The right argument to have is how many units are you going to move? Because that tells you how much cash you're going to put in your pocket. All right? Now, these are very real scenarios. This bottom one, I see a lot of deals, non-TV, that pay the inventor about $20,000 a year. It doesn't, when I first started doing it, it didn't feel like that much. But then when I started thinking about it, I thought, that's not a bad part-time job. It's a part-time job. My money and my product are holding down a part-time job, and it's $20,000 a year.
It's a full-time job in something.
Yeah, so you can get some of those going. It can actually end up being okay. It can be, the more you get, the better, but even if you just have the one, it's still a nice check to go to the mailbox and get. So here's what I did, because I'm looking for this As Seen on TV, is this middle line, the finder's fee, the product scout team. I wanted to get the criteria into other people's hands, because if you can see it, you come to these club meetings, you can see things I don't see. You can, I went to I'm sorry, I'm babbling here. Let me try to hone it in.
No, you're not.
I went to the guys I work with and I said, hey, I want you to give me a separate pile of money for my product scout team so that I can pay people that refer product to me. So they said, sure. It's 1/4% of the wholesale value up to a cap of $100,000. And so we've paid out 2 of them in the last 6 years. 2 people have capped at the $100,000. Because I'm going to leave Tampa and you guys are still going to be here. And you have neighbors that I don't know, you have people you work with I don't know, there's people with good ideas all around, and you spent your time and energy to come here. And if I can have you remember this, if I can have you remember this criteria, and now when other people, have ideas to share with you, instead of you thinking, oh, I can't deal with that, I'm dealing with my own product, you don't know how hard it is, I can't help you, maybe you'll stop and go, yeah, I do want to listen to you. Because all you really need is a handmade prototype and a good demo video. And then you may need to have more down the road, but you can start with that. So I want you to be paying attention, because if we're able to do it, you might have the next winner. Okay, how many people want to present? I want to make sure I have time for that. And when do we have to be out of here?
We're done at 8:45.
I need
About
timekeepers.
1 hour. So
1 hour. One more question, then we got to start presenting, and then I'll stay as long as we need to somewhere, wherever. Maybe I won't. Okay, you.
Do you ever do testing strictly on computer-generated models to find out whether, okay...
The little animations, those animations? Yeah, good question on the animations, thank you. No, I don't like the animations. I'm sorry. It's just that they're good for some products. They're good for higher tech products. They're good if you can't make a prototype. And they're good for other kinds of industries. Like you might be able to license on an animation to a different company outside of As Seen on TV. So I don't mean to dog them, but for TV, we're a visual medium. We do TV, we like video. And so we just like to see things in video, and we like to see the product real. We like to see the 3D cobbled together. So I would rather have literally a tape and glued craft 3D prototype with a demo video than a rendering, only just because it's how my team sees things more clearly. And we can test that. We can do a better survey on that than we can a rendering. The renderings and the graphic animes, they don't survey well. They just don't resonate with consumers in the way that we need to. so they don't work for our category. This is just my group's opinion, and I've talked to some other people and they agree, but, you know, maybe not everybody would agree.